past, fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact, don't ask, grab reactions, jacked, attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're discreet now, get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before I do begin, this series is going to be a College AU. I'm specifying that right here at the beginning, before anyone does get it confused. Now, along with that, the wonderful thumbnail was provided by my friend Alexis 2400. I might be saying that wrong, and, well, if I am, I'm sorry, dude. Now, with that being said, you guys should go check him out, since he did provide me with a thumbnail and another one that I will be using later on in the series. Now then, with that being said, this is going to be part 0, so it is not going to be required for those of you who do not want to watch this part, and want to skip to part 1 whenever that does come out. Now then, I'm going to be going over Midoriya's life, his quirk, and at least explaining things before he does meet our future girl, Fuyumi Todoroki. Now then, with that being said, let us begin with Izuku Midoriya, who was born and actually, well, let's say he was born with his quirk. Now, Midoriya's abilities, they would not manifest until he is around the age of 4 years old. And he would go to the quirk doctor, where the quirk doctor, they've taken samples of Midoriya's blood and have actually gone through numerous tests to see if they can pinpoint Midoriya's abilities. Now, with that being said, the doctors are proud to announce that Midoriya does have a quirk. And Inko, she actually is a bit surprised to hear this, as she does breathe a small sigh of relief. However, she is curious as to the ability, as the doctor does go on stating it. The best way to describe it is as a telekinetic or pyrokinetic ability, meaning that Midoriya has the ability to light things on fire if he does touch them, or set things on fire and move them. Now, Inko does find this to be a strange ability, and Izuku, he actually is scared hearing about it. However, there is whenever he does actually get informed by the doctor to try to move something. The doctor handing Midoriya a solid metal pen, Midoriya touching it and being told to try and move it. Now, the moment Midoriya actually does make skin contact with it, he does actually go to try and lift it up, the doctor expecting it to be lit on fire. However, Midoriya, he does simply just lift it up into the air, and the doctor's surprised, as he actually does reach out to go grab his pen, thinking that he may have misidentified Izuku's quirk. However, right before that does actually happen, Midoriya does have the pen burst into flames, the doctor jumping backwards and pulling back his hand, talking about how it appears his quirk does seem to be a bit more different than they first thought. Doctor, what are you talking about? More tests may be needed, but at the same time, keep an eye on your son's quirk, ma'am. It appears his quirk is stranger than we first were led to believe. Now then, with that being said, Midoriya does go home, and he does want to look up about his strange abilities. Now, with that, he does do this. And then there is whenever he does actually go to show it off at school the following week, where kids are surprised to learn that Izuku manifested his quirk. Bakugo going to talk about how his quirk is better, and how Izuku is going to be weaker than him. Midoriya actually saying that he's going to be a good pro hero. Just look at this. I'm actually going to try and focus. Now, the moment this does actually happen, while they are at recess, Midoriya does lift up a few objects. People watching as Midoriya, he actually is trying to focus and stay calm. As he actually does think one single thing. Ignition. Or at least, well, something else. Boom. And the objects he actually does have lifted up in the air, let's say just some simple toys or playground equipment, Midoriya would have burst into flames. The moment Midoriya actually does open his eyes, he does actually go to try and throw his hands out and pull the flames away. Bakugo actually watching Midoriya pull the flames away and straight towards him. Midoriya actually then at least pushing out with his hands. And the flames get dispersed by an invisible wall. As Midoriya does just look back down at his hands and watches this invisible wall does go flying throughout the playground. Kids actually being pushed over by it, along with actually Midoriya bending some playground equipment. Midoriya then actually just looking down at his hands. And, well, surprised. Now, Midoriya actually does bring his hands together. And think. Okay. Stay calm, stay calm. Fire. Midoriya actually then having the area around his hands burst into flames. As he actually does, bring his hands apart from one another and stare down at them. Wow, this is so cool. It doesn't even hurt. Deku! Bakugo would yell. Midoriya actually then looking at Bakugo as his entire body ignites. Bakugo taken aback by that as Midoriya does actually go to run around. And doesn't even realize that it doesn't hurt. Teachers coming outside and one with a fire extinguisher, going to put Midoriya out. However, the very moment that they actually do this, they find that there's an invisible field surrounding Midoriya's body. It's blasting away the, fire extinguishers, the chemical component in the fire extinguisher that's supposed to be used to put out fires. Now, eventually they do find a way to calm Midoriya down, without getting close to him. And they actually would take him back inside and cover him up. Now, people do basically learn that Midoriya's strange quirk is a combination of his mother's and his father's. However, it does seem to have a mutation along within it. Now, Izuku, he does actually go home for the rest of the day. And, after Inko does try looking into this a bit more and help Izuku with her ability, her trying to at least train Izuku on how to pick things up, it usually would always end in him lighting it on fire by accident. Now, Inko does try and at least coach her son about this ability, and informing him that once he does actually get it down, they can move on to more advanced things. Now, Inko would also notice stranger things. Midoriya seems to be able to do certain other things with his own abilities. He's been able to create what seems like walls. Him once actually doing this, and even simulating what she believes to be a blast of energy, or fire. It doesn't make sense. Midoriya just somewhat freaked out one day and boom. The room just got really, really hot. It made no sense. Now, Midoriya actually would try to learn more about his abilities, looking online and even going back to the doctor's office, where they do properly name his quirk, tactile pyrokinesis. Now, the doctor would then inform Midoriya about exactly what his quirk can really do, and how it's a very potent and dangerous ability. So Midoriya will need to go through extensive training to actually become a good person, or a good pro hero. talking about how he should look up to the fire hero Endeavor as an inspiration, and think about what that man can really do. Now, Midoriya does try to tell the doctor that he doesn't really seem to like Endeavor. The guy's kind of scary. Plus, well, there is All Might. He's always super strong and super tough. Him actually going over to a table, talking about how if All Might was right here, he would do something like this. Him grabbing the table with one hand. The doctor, watching as Izuku, does actually go to try and make the motion of picking it up. However, for Midoriya, he actually subconsciously uses his quirk, and is able to lift the metal table up with ease. The doctor actually having his eyes completely widen and his jaw drop, asking the boy to put that down. Huh? What are you talking about, doctor? Midoriya turning his head and looking at his hand, as he actually does go to try and put the desk down. And he does actually have his focus waver for 1 second, as the desk suddenly got real heavy and Midoriya did somewhat drop it the rest of the way, and started to kind of freak out. The doctor and Inko trying to calm Midoriya down and informing him that that is another idea of his ability. The doctor also informed Midoriya exactly about how versatile his quirk is, and congratulating him on the ability once again. Now, Izuku does begin to try and train more, with his mother and what he can learn from his father from talking over the phone. And he does actually get quite popular. Him and Bakugo usually always being the rising stars their class talks about. And Bakugo does watch Midoriya actually receive a bit more praise after learning more and more about his quirk. Midoriya's quirk didn't really seem flashy at first, but there's whenever he started to actually get older and start growing in power. He just made a leap one day. And then there was the day that he actually was able to focus on his quirk and not have it mess up on him. He was able to actually control the kinesis part. And he was able to lift himself up in the air one day and start flying. Everybody was in shock by that. He has another quirk? That's crazy. Midoriya informing everyone that he doesn't. He's just focusing on lifting himself up, and not lighting himself on fire. Now, Midoriya is having fun, as Bakugo would actually talk about how his quirk is still better. And he would actually try to fight Deku. Him trying to throw out explosions throughout, well, his area on the ground. Not being able to hit Midoriya at all. Talking about how he needs to come down so they can fight. And Midoriya just tells Bakugo that they're not going to be fighting. Now, Bakugo is still annoyed by this. However, Izuku, him and Bakugo, they do still have their differences. Now, it isn't until these two are in middle school that things did actually start to take a change. Midoriya and Bakugo, they both were still the stars of their high school, or their middle school, my bad. And Bakugo himself did begin to at least chill out around Deku. The two one day became friends, after some of their differences were resolved. Midoriya lifting up Bakugo and talking about how his quirk is good. And Bakugo actually being happy about that. And at least having a bit of a change of character. Knowing that the people around him, they were only friends with him because of his flashy quirk. Since the moment he started hanging around Deku, those people stopped coming around him. In fact, he realized that the only reason why they hung around him was because he was so popular. They wanted to be popular. And they want to be the targets of Bakugo's rage. Now, with that being said, there is then in high school, where Midoriya and Bakugo actually did begin to try training more, and at least studying, Now, this would be around, I want to say, yeah, that would work. Let's say their sophomore year of high school. Or I'm going over the assumption Japan has a 4-year system. I could be wrong. Anyways, Midori and Bakugo, they would both be around, let's say, 16. And they actually are at least trying to lightly spar with each other. Bakugo and Midori going back and forth. And talking about what do you think they should do after high school? Well, I mean, we're in some, junior pro classes right now, aren't we? Well, I mean, yeah, but even then our school doesn't fund them enough. You're telling me. What is it? Once a semester we go out with pros? That's lame. Besides, I wouldn't really even call what they have us do combat training. Combat training, dude, seriously? It's basically what we're doing right now. What is it? I'm pretty sure we could sign up for a dojo and get more experience. Yeah, Midoriya says actually does bring up his hand and use his quirk. From his arm, he does create an invisible wall that he could actually have and use as a shield. Bakugo actually throwing his hand out and actually colliding his form with that wall, pulling it backwards and getting a bit angry, telling Midoriya that he really shouldn't have done that, as he does go to get a bit more serious with his quirk. Now, Midoriya does use the aura around his body, and he actually does go into a arm lock with Bakugo, as he physically overpowers him using his quirk. Now, Bakugo does get annoyed by this, going to blast off explosions directly into Midoriya's hands, the aura around him protecting his body, as Midoriya does actually just throw a knee down into Bakugo's gut. And this would be whenever Bakugo would lose. Now, after Bakugo does get back onto his feet, the two do sit down and actually do drink some energy drinks, to at least recover. Damn, dude. You always do that. Oh, come on, Bakugo, you always leave yourself wide open. Oh, yeah, I know, but still. Anyways. Well. Are you gonna be busy tomorrow? No, why? Oh, I was curious. I had this date tomorrow. Okay, why are you talking to me about it? Come on, Midori, you're my best friend. Yeah, and? So I just want you to know. Besides, can't be that bad, right? I could use some advice. I don't know why you're asking me about advice. What about that girl you dated last year? I wouldn't really call it a date. I mean, me and her were talking, but she just seemed kind of weird. How so? Well, I don't know. She seemed to just be, what's the best way to say it? A pyromaniac. She liked watching things on fire. Of course you attract the weirdos. Hey, come on, man. Besides, she kept talking about your quirk, too. What? Ah, jeez, now I'm on that weirdo's radar, too? Wait, what was her name? Roya saying the girl's name. Bakugo actually breathing a small sigh of relief. Oh, good, it's not her. Had you worried there for a second, didn't I? Of course you did. I don't want her trying to get me to do things that I don't want to do. Such as? Blowing stuff up? Okay, that's actually fun to do, I'll have you know. But I'm just saying, I'm not going to use my explosions for evil. So you're going to use them for good? Yeah. Besides, we still got 2 years to go. Think we're gonna make it? Yeah, I think so. Hopefully. Besides, I need to step up a bit, especially if I'm gonna catch up. Catch up? Yeah, to you. You're a little bit ahead. Plus, I think I have my own way to figure it all out. Now, with that being said, we do cut up to the senior year, where the teacher would announce that these two are both going to be pro heroes, and how they will be the ones who do bring honor to their school. Now, Midoriya and Bakugo do leave, Bakugo heading a different way from Midoriya. Midoriya actually wanting to go talk to somebody about materials for his pro hero outfit, as he would head to the mall. Now, I want to say that Midoriya, he is, yeah, he would be 18, I want to say. Or at least 17, if I'm correct. Or, yeah, I want to say, actually, no, let's just say he's 18, just for good measure. Now, as he does head to the mall, he does have a small commotion he does over here. And there is a sludge villain, who actually was trying to rob a shop. Him doing it a little bit later than he was supposed to in canon. Now, as the sludge villain is trying to get away, he actually is running past an area, as All Might does appear and go to take a hostage. Well, All Might would appear and the sludge villain will go to take a hostage. Not All Might taking a hostage, my bad. Anyways, now, whenever the sludge villain does actually take a hostage, he does warn All Might not to come closer, or he'll kill them. Now, with that being said, All Might does tell the villain to simply just calm down and turn themselves in. They weren't going to get away with the money anyways. All Might pointing behind him and saying that look how much they've already spilled. It's not even worth it at that point. The villain telling All Might that it does not matter. He needs the money. As he actually does go to move in on the person. This being where Midoriya does actually blast in. Him flying through and actually tackling the person inside the sludge villain. His body covered in flame. As Midoriya, as soon as he does actually blast through the villain, holding the person, he does fly forwards and turn off the flames. As him and the person go falling onto the ground and rolling. All Might moving in quickly and actually blasting the villain away. As Midoriya does actually go to get up. Now, after that does happen, Midoriya, he actually does look down to see a white-haired girl. Now, the moment that that does happen, Midoriya actually does go to bend down and ask the girl if she is okay. The girl sitting on her knees as she's looking around the ground. Huh? Thank you so much. But I can't find my glasses. Oh, Midoriya holding out his hand, pulling the glasses off the ground as he does actually bend down and put them on her face. Her actually having her vision go from super blurry to adjusting to be perfectly fine. Huh? Oh, thank you. Midoriya then holding out a hand. Hey, don't worry about it, alright? But are you okay? Yeah, but what did you do? I didn't even see you. Oh, well, that's kind of easy, Midoriya says, bringing his hand up and igniting it with flames. The girl looking at that, and she actually does take a small step backwards. Midoriya is saying that he has a special quirk, and it's actually kind of strange. Midoriya actually then pointing down to his feet. Her watching that, Midoriya, he's not touching the ground. Huh? What the heck? Midoriya then re-landing, and the flame in his hand dispersing, talking about how his quirk is called tactile pyrokinesis. Huh? That's so weird. Yeah, she actually does look at Midoriya and say that he's a very good guy. Oh, thank you. I want to be a pro, so I'm going to apply for the college next year. Really? Yeah. Now, she actually does smile a bit at Midoriya, it going to a bit of surprise as she does actually reach down into her purse, pulling out a napkin and actually telling Midoriya that he has a bloody nose. Midoriya reaching up and feeling his nose. She's right. And reaching his hand out and taking the napkin from her. As she actually does get a little bit nervous. Midoriya taking the napkin and telling her thank you as he does actually bring it up to his nose. All Might then interrupting them. Midoriya turning. All Might? Wait, what are you doing in the city? Well, young man, that is a secret. However, it is nice to meet you. And you actually did do good work against that villain. Huh? Thank you. Wow, it's an honor to meet you. Midoriya holding out his hand and shaking All Might's. Before saying that he's actually been inspired a lot by him. Really? Well, that's nice to hear, young man. UA is always looking for available candidates, such as yourself. You've shown great heroism. Thank you, sir. Alright, now I must be off. All Might jumping away with the sludge villain. Not dropping it this time. Now. Midoriya then actually does look down and go back to Fuyumi, still holding up the napkin to his nose. Her saying that she's very sorry, but she does have to go, and that it was nice to meet him. Getting his name. Izuku Midoriya. And he does actually get hers, Fuyumi. Now, with that being said, she does actually go to leave, as she's going to be late for a class she does have after her college courses. Now, with that being said, Midoriya does also head home. And he does actually just think for 1 minute. That was actually pretty interesting. Plus, he actually did get to save a cute girl. Huh. Looks like his luck might just be turning around. Now then. With that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part. Or part 1.